These are the only controller settings you'll need for all of 2026. Whether your goal is to dominate ranked games, place in tournaments, or even just beat your friends in 1v1s, these settings will work for everyone, and I'll even show you how to use them to get the best performance possible. But to actually compete in ranked, and especially in tournaments against the best players in the world, all of these really good players are using a PC like this one, which I just finished building a couple of days ago. It of course has all the top line specs you can have, but my favorite part is easily this case, which is the Cube 540 from Cooler Master, the quick sponsor of this part of the video. Because of the custom 3D printed add-ons to the size and the freedom this case has, it's easily become my favorite case I've ever used. It's a smaller, compact case, but it can still fit regular sized parts, and honestly, it was one of the easiest cases to build it. There's no back and front or top and bottom to be routing cables through. It's just this is the area you build in, which is actually really easy to understand if it's like your first or second time building a PC. The aesthetic of it plays on this like industrial look, which I like, but the coolest part is easily the modular 3D printable add-ons, which you can use these to make your case more functional or completely change the vibe of it. Whether it's a custom tray on top to a headphone holder to a Star Wars ship, there's a whole community of people designing stuff for this case, which I just think is super cool. Another part I got to build this PC with is Cooler Master's air coolers, which I've come to learn are not only just as good at cooling your high-end CPUs, but they're also a lot less expensive and a lot more durable. They're a lot less likely to break. In this build, I used a 9800 X3D, and my temps are perfect while gaming, so I'll put the links to both of those down below, and if you're gonna build a PC anytime soon, these are two great parts to start with. So a big thank you to Cooler Master for sponsoring this part of the video, and I'll definitely be doing more with this case in the future. It's just too cool not to. I'll quickly take you through all of the most important settings so your game is as optimized as possible, and then I'll show you how to play on these. So first of all, I'm actually playing with my controller plugged into a PC right now, but I also use these same settings on PS5 and dominate with them. However, on PC, I play 1440p 360 FPS on performance mode. I still turn my brightness all the way to 150%. If you're on console and don't have any of these settings, don't worry, because the rest of these settings you will have, like having visualized sound effects. Make sure to turn this on. I'm not going to explain these too much. I'm just going to show you what you should have, like toggle sprint turned on, auto open doors turned on. And this part's actually pretty important. Auto pick up weapons have turned on, but have preferred item slots turned off. You'll see exactly why when we go actually play, but turbo building turned on, reset building choice turned on, simple edit and simple build are both turned off, along with disabling pre-edits, and auto confirm edit should be set to both. For the extra game options, the only thing you want to make sure you have turned on over here is tap to search and interact. You can turn off all your replays if you want the most performance possible, but I like to have at least this top one on so I can go back and look at my games. Energy saving mode, personal preference, but I prefer never. In this tab, the only thing you want to make sure is that you have HUD scale on at least 80%, and honestly the rest of these I wouldn't really mess with. Basically all of them are on by default, and you want to leave that on. We're not going to use any of the haptics or gyro aiming. That's not good for competitive games. And then we get finally to these sensitivities, which again I'm just going to quickly run through these, like slide hold time on 0.065, reset camera access, reset camera time. These are just on the default pitch in 0.1, they don't matter. And vibration feature, turn it off. Quick weapon we're not going to use. For the actual sensitivities part, we have build multipliers and edit multipliers of 2.0 on both these. First person mode sticking at the 1x, use advanced options of course turned on. Below here we're going 43% on both horizontal and vertical speed with 0% boost on all of these. Instant boost and building turned off. ADS we're going 7% horizontal, 8% of vertical with 0% boost in all of this, but a scope speed multiplier of 1.2x. Below that is look damaging time of 0 seconds. Look input curve, you have to set this to linear if you're going to use these settings. These settings literally only work on linear, they won't work on exponential. If you think you do prefer exponential, it feels a lot different, but some players really like it. I recommend coming over here into my map. All you have to do is search Carter 2K into the map tab, come in here, and after a few minutes you can go into this settings hub, and this actually has a bunch of the best pro players in the world controller settings, keyboard and mouse settings too if you want to learn those. But over here you can see we have Teeny with over $300,000 earned. He plays on exponential settings. King R, this is actually Re, he has over $400,000 earned. He has exponential settings. And even Cam over here, this is one of the best console players in the history of the game, and he also uses exponential settings. Now there's a bunch of other pros, and personally I way prefer linear. I think it's a lot better for most players. However, again, if you want other settings to try, they're all literally listed right here inside this settings portal in my map, and this is the other reason to come into my map as well. Especially if you haven't played for a few days, the XP you can get from picking up one of these lightning guns and just spraying the settings and weapons is insane. That's like hundreds of thousands of XP. That's multiple levels of progress in just a few minutes. And let's see, it's been about 5 minutes, so let's see if I can do that again. Yep, I'm getting a ton of XP again after just a few minutes of waiting. I'm pretty sure you can use this to max out your XP like every few minutes, and it's ridiculous, bro. This is like a hack to getting XP. For dead zones, I do recommend 8% on both left and right stick, 40% on left and right trigger release. However, if you get stick drift from this, you want these as low as possible without getting stick drift. So for me, I can go all the way down because I have really good TMR thumbsticks, but you might have to go up to even like 13, 14, 15% to make sure you don't get stick drift. Your goal with these settings should be to be as consistent and as controlled as possible. Like, these sensitivities are fast enough for build fights and small flick shots, but they're just perfectly slow enough that you can really control your edits and aim like this. Your goal while you're playing Fortnite should be to make as few mistakes as possible with your edits and aiming. Like, controller players' biggest mistakes, the one that I see way too much, is controller players always want to be super flashy and do way too much. The issue with that is the faster you make your sensitivity to be more flashy, the more often you mess up your builds and edits and aim. The way you become an actually good player is by simply not messing up. Pros like Reek literally play entire games where he won't mess up a single edit or even miss a single close range shotgun shot. The insane precision and literally not messing up is the key to getting so good at this game. Now, I'm making getting good at Fortnite seem really simple, and it actually is. It's really simple, but just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. It's hard to become a good, really consistent player that doesn't mess up because it takes a ton of reps while using these same settings. But again, it's simple because as long as you stay pretty basic with your moves and stick with these same settings, at that point, it's just a matter of time before you become crazy good. If you do like these settings and they feel comfortable for you, I'm telling you, don't change them for all of 2026. Like, I'm being serious, every single time you change your settings, your muscle memory gets reset. The only way you can get insanely accurate is by playing on the same settings for a long time. I mentioned how Reet sometimes goes entire games without missing a shot or messing up an edit. Well, he's also been on the same exact controller sensitivities since 2020. Literally over 5 years of Fortnite without him ever changing his settings even a single time. Like, that might sound insane, but that's what the best players do. They find settings that work and then never change them again. I really hope this video helps you. Click here to watch me try the 3 most popular pro controllers, or click here to watch me transform my cramped bedroom into my dream 2026 gaming setup. Subscribe, and thanks so much for watching.